Step number 1, build your credit score. Or if applicable, fix your credit. You know who you are. Now I know what you're thinking. How dare you tell me to go and get a credit card? I'm gonna spend so much money that I don't have. I'm gonna become bankrupt and Dave Ramsey told me not to. Well, you might be right. So as a disclaimer, I would like to say up front, I'm not telling you to go and get a credit card to spend money that you don't have. You're simply getting a credit card to build your credit. Why do we need to build credit? Let's just say you're buying a house that's $1 million and you've saved up $990,000 as a down payment. You only need to borrow $10,000 from the bank. Well, if you don't have any credit, they're not gonna lend you a penny. Oh, but you're an all-cash buyer. I see. If you've been spearheaded into believing that you need to buy a home outright in all cash because debt is really bad, I implore you to reconsider, as you will not be able to reap the benefits of inflation. For more on how inflation makes you rich, check out my video on this in my investor section. Truth be told, the majority of buyers who are purchasing a home in all cash are only doing so to gain an advantage in a multiple offer situation. Once the property is in their name, they're very likely going to get a loan. With all this being said, what is credit? And why is it important? A credit score is a score that is given to you that predicts your likelihood of paying your bills on time. Credit scores range between 300 and 850. 850 being absolutely impeccable, and 300 being absolutely terrible. Awesome, sounds great. But why is having a great credit score so important? Well, let's take a look at an example. As of July 1st, 2022, these are the going rates that apply to the corresponding credit scores. Let's say we have two buyers. One buyer has a credit score of 620 to 639. The other buyer has a credit score of 760 plus. Each of these buyers are going to buy $1 million home. Yes, this is Los Angeles, and that is a starter home. They're each going to put a down payment of 20%, and each of them are going to get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Well, let's see how they did. Based off of the rates that correspond with these credit scores, our buyer with a credit score of 760 is going to save about $800 a month, about $9,700 per year, and over the course of 30 years, this buyer will have saved about $290,000. So, as you can see, having a great credit score can save you a lot of money. Now let's say you're watching this in 5 years from now, or maybe even 300 years from now. You get the idea, and I'm sure it's still applicable. And also, hello, great-great-great-great-grandchildren. Now that we know what it is and why it's important, let's take a look at the factors of which our credit score is calculated. The biggest factor that affects your credit score is your credit history. From the moment you go to the bank and you get a credit card, they will be watching you. Not really like that, but more like this. And after you pick her up on time for every single date that you go on, then it becomes like this. Ah, romantic, isn't it? Basically, if you pay your bills on time, every time, this will affect your credit score dramatically in a positive way. Next one down the totem pole is credit utilization. 30% of your score is based on how much credit you have utilized. Now, if you have a credit limit of $10,000, which is the maximum amount that you are allowed to borrow, and you have borrowed $9,999, you are utilizing a lot of credit. This is seen as a potential risk, and this will affect your credit score negatively. If you have a $10,000 limit and you only have a balance of $300, you are not utilizing a lot of credit, and this is good. This is why I recommend when you are shopping around for a loan, you want to make sure you have utilized as little credit as possible. No more than about 3%. This way you can make sure that you are going to get the best rate possible. Next up, we have length of credit history. Someone who has been paying their bills on time for 10 years is going to have a much better credit score than someone who has been paying their bills on time for 3 months. If you've been building credit for a longer period of time, you've had more time to prove your reliability. So this is why 15% of your credit score is calculated by looking at the length of credit history. Next in line is credit inquiries. Every time you apply for a new loan or a new credit card, the bank or the lender will inquire about your credit. If you have a lot of inquiries, meaning you have applied for many loans or many credit cards, the more inquiries you have, the more this affects your credit negatively. The bank or lender will see a large amount of inquiries as a potential red flag and wonder, why are you needing so much money? Are you in trouble? Are you struggling? Are you gonna go to Vegas and blow it all on red? But not to worry, your credit inquiries will drop after 6 months, so don't go apply for a new credit card. Don't seek out any new lines of credit or a new loan on a new whip for at least 6 months before you meet with a lender. The last factor of which your credit score is calculated is your mix of credit types. This factors in at 10%. Typically, lenders want to see at least 2, preferably 3 lines of credit. This is an indication that you can multitask, you can handle more than one fishing pole in the water at once, adding to your credibility and your responsibility. All right, we made it. That's it. Now that we've gone over the 5 factors that affect your credit score, let's go over a couple do's and a couple don'ts. Do: pay your bills on time every single month. Because if you remember, this is the biggest factor that affects your credit score, 35%. There is a huge myth that if you keep a revolving balance on your credit card and you don't fully pay it off every single month, this will affect your credit score positively. Truth be told, that's not true. If you're leaving a balance every month and you're only paying the minimum, the bank is going to charge you interest on the revolving balance. So really you're just paying more money for no reason because it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect your credit score. Pay it off. Do only get a credit card to build credit. Do not get a credit card to spend money that you do not have. Now, something to note is that credit card users on average spend about 12 to 18% more money than people who carry around cash. There's something about having a credit card, it's easy access, you're not visually seeing your money leave your wallet. And let's say you have found yourself in a position in which you have accumulated a large amount of credit card debt. Something to consider is paying off the credit card that has the lowest balance first, regardless of the rate, because you will start to see the debt on one card at a time being knocked down, slashed away. Trying to pay off 10 cards all at the same time feels like an impossible feat and it feels overwhelming. So if you take one card at a time, knock that down, go to the next one, knock that down, then you will start to gain more and more confidence and you'll see a very nice mental boost of your morale. Now, I'm not telling you what to do with your money, so don't sue me. This is just food for thought. It may or may not help you. I don't know. Try it out, or don't. Do call your bank regularly, about every 6 months, to see if you can raise your credit limit. If you have a credit limit of $1,000 and you have a balance of $100, your credit utilization is 10%. If your credit limit is $10,000 and your current balance is $100, well, now you're utilizing a lot less credit. Do check your credit score regularly. I have an app on my phone, the Experian app. It's free to use. I check my credit score at least once a month, maybe more, probably more. You especially want to do this when you are applying for a loan or you are about to apply for a loan because you want to make sure that your credit is in the best shape possible so that you can get the best rates possible. Don't close your card. Every time you close your card, you're erasing some of your credit history. And as we said, length of credit history affects your score by 15%. Do consider only getting a card for certain expenses that you know you are going to need. For example, if you get a credit card and you're only going to use it for gas and you know you can pay it off every single month, then do that. Don't worry about getting a credit score of 800. All you really need is a credit score that's a 740 plus in order to get the best rates possible. Although having an 800 is a pretty cool bragging point. Hey! Do not get a credit card so that you can rack up a bunch of airline miles because according to the Consumer Report, 75% of airline miles are never redeemed. Do consider carrying around a cash allowance for entertainment expenses, like drinks with the boys, or girls' night out, or costumes for your animals. Even though it is kind of cute, it's on the verge of animal cruelty, so don't do that. Do like and subscribe if you have found this video useful, or if it has added value to you. And hey, maybe you know all there is to know about credit, but you have an adult child who's living in your basement. Feel free to pass this video along, and hopefully you and I together can team up and turn their life around. All right, you have made it through step number 1. Guys, it just gets more and more fun from here on out. So, now that that's over, thanks for watching and check out step number 2, which is